What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Happy Friday. So today we're going to be talking about aspects and how to actually read aspects and what exactly aspects are. And I'm going to discuss one of the concept that not too many people know about, which is called Sandhi Aspects. Okay? And aspects are a very important thing in astrology. And most people I see that they do not read aspects correctly, and they forget to read certain aspects because of the fact they're trying to determine something and they don't think aspects might apply on the situation, which they do. Okay, and aspect simply means sight, drishti, as they say in Jyotish, Vedic Astrology. And what it's doing is that certain planets have certain aspects. Like certain planets look towards certain houses from where they're placed, and they influence those planets based on their significance, if they're natural malefic, natural benefic, depending upon what houses they rule. Are they functional malefic, functional benefic, or are they like yoga karka planets, meaning that planets controlling the Kendra and Trikona house? Okay, and if you don't know what I'm saying, these are very easy terms to understand. Just check out the link below here on my website and you will learn what these small terms are. But if you, that's my assistant director, by the way. So yeah, so I'm gonna show you how to read aspects. The way you read aspects, especially when you're judging a dasha, when you're judging your current mahadasha or your previous mahadasha, if you want to see if these aspects work or not, and your future mahadashas that are coming, or when you're trying to read a certain specific element of your life, that okay, how will I get married? When will I get married? If I will get married, and who will I marry? Okay, so those are the things you might want to look for with the planet Venus. But you also want to study what's happening with Venus, and there is a positive negative thing from this, so which we'll discuss. And as you see in my television behind me, I have a chart. So these are the examples that I'm going to discuss on this aspect video. Okay. All right. So as you see, this is a Aries ascendant chart, because this is the first house of the horoscope. It always is the first house of the horoscope. And so here you see Saturn sitting in there in the Aries ascendant. Okay. And let's say this person wants to judge how is my married life is going to be, who will I marry, and how is my mahadasha of Venus is going to be, because Venus is responsible for marriage for both men and women. And especially in a man's chart, it shows what kind of a wife he will have. So and let's say his Venus time period of 20 years is going to be starting in like, I don't know, like let's say a year or so. And he wants to just find out what exactly is happening with his dasha. So now we want to judge first where Venus is sitting. Okay, we saw Venus is sitting in the 10th house in the sign of Capricorn, which is a friendly sign. Okay. And Venus is in the 10th house of career, and it's in conjunction with Rahu. And remember, conjunction are another aspect. Conjunctions and aspect kind of mean the same in this scenario, because whenever we talk about conjunctions, we're saying that Saturn, let's say Saturn aspects the 1st, 3rd, 7th, and 10th place from itself. So we're always using the first place aspect as the aspect where he's sitting in, on the house that he's sitting in. So Rahu is in a conjunction with Venus, or you can say Rahu is aspecting Venus, because Rahu is aspecting the 1st, 5th, 7th, and 9th place from itself. Okay, so now we want to judge Venus, what it's going to do. So when Venus Dasha comes in, you can see that this person is going to be concentrating more on their career related to Venus. And this could be like foreign products, because Rahu shows foreign things. So foreign female products. It can show hotel management. It can show acting, drama, artistic career. Okay. It can show any kind of like home designing, because Venus is also aspecting the 4th house, because Venus has its own aspect. Venus aspects the 7th place from itself. Okay, so it can be all things related to Venus and Rahu is bringing the foreign element. So this person can do business in foreign lands. They can do business internationally of like female products like makeup and, you know, any kind of like clothing or whatever the female products are. Okay, so that you can judge that, but we don't want to discuss all that right now. I want to talk about aspects. So let's say this person is going to see how their Venus is acting up as. Okay, is this a good career, good marriage, bad marriage, how good of a time period, how bad of a time period. So Venus is being aspected by Rahu as in conjunction. That's one aspect. Then Ketu aspects Venus in the 10th house. That's two aspects. Then Saturn from its 10th aspect, okay, is aspecting Venus. That's three aspects. Then Mars looks at 8th place from itself. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So Mars is aspecting Venus. And now guess what though? Now you count to see if there's a functional malefic or functional benefic aspecting Venus. Well, there is no functional malefic aspecting Venus because functional malefic would be Mercury, and Mercury is in the 11th house because his Mool Trikon sign is in the 6th house. But now that we know there's no functional malefic is aspecting, now we want to see the significance of the planets. Are these planets' original significance good or bad? So you have one malefic aspect, Rahu is a malefic planet on Venus. Two aspect, malefic aspect because Ketu is malefic upon Venus. Then Saturn is a natural malefic. Saturn is aspecting Venus. Then Mars is a natural malefic. Mars is aspecting Venus. So now you have four malefic aspects on Venus, natural malefic aspects. Okay, so now we know, and there's no benefic aspect on Venus. So that's 3-0 or 4-0, I should say. Yeah, 4-0 negative aspects on Venus, malefic aspects on Venus. Now you see, now you know that, okay, there are four malefic planets that are aspecting Venus. Now you see what Venus is going through now due to these aspects because each planet is bringing his own significance. Rahu is bringing something of breaking boundaries, breaking taboos, foreign things. You know, it is amplifying the qualities of Venus. So this person can be very obsessed when it comes to relationships because not only Venus is in conjunction with Rahu, but Venus is the Lord of the 7th house in this ascendant and Lord of the 2nd house, which is family. Okay, so this shows that there's a lot, this person could have been separated from family due to Rahu's impact. Not to mention the deposit of where Venus is sitting is debilitated, Saturn. So it shows that Saturn aspect on it is also could separate this person from the family, and this person due to Rahu's aspect can be very obsessive and very artistic, you know, amplifying Venus's quality in a good way, but at the same time bringing all these obsessive qualities to Venus. And Saturn shows restrictions, Saturn shows discipline, structure, organization. It's a cold planet. So Saturn aspect on Venus makes Venus, first of all, workaholic because it's in the sign, it's in the career sign. Workaholic, organized, disciplined about things. And at the same time, these people are quite cold towards the opposite sex. They are not one of those hopeless romantic guys. They might just have an obsession to be in a relationship, but really because of Saturn aspect, this is creating some bit of a cold environment in marriage. This also shows delay in marriage because Saturn aspect on the 7th house delays marriage, and Saturn aspect on the significator of marriage is delaying marriage. So it shows late marriage. Okay, that's two. Ketu's aspect on Venus. Ketu's aspect on Venus is showing dissatisfaction in love life, dissatisfaction in dealing with the opposite sex. Okay, and this is also showing that this person wants to just sometimes get away from their partner, and they just want to be, and when they get away from their partner because of Ketu aspect, they involve themselves into work a lot. So there's a lot of turbulence in this person's relationship. They're obsessed, yet their obsession suddenly turns into dissatisfaction. So they can have a lot of partners because of this. Second, Mars aspects Venus. Okay, Mars is throwing a lot of passion and energy onto Venus. Mars is throwing a lot of aggressiveness towards the opposite sex. They're very aggressive when they go for them. They're very aggressive when they're very confident when they go to females or to go to men and approach men, because again, this is the significator of relationship for both men and women. So Mars is throwing its aspect upon Venus, and Mars is also a malefic planet. Mars is a very fiery, angry, headstrong planet. So they're very much like aggressive, and this aggressive can also turn into, let's say, abuse, let's say physical abuse upon the native, because this person has 4 malefic aspects upon itself. You guys must be thinking that, oh, why is Saturn doing so bad to Venus? We know Saturn is debilitated in Aries, but Saturn is receiving a Neech Bhang Raj Yoga because of Venus being in Kendra, in its own sign, in the most powerful house in the horoscope, which is the 10th house. But guess what? Neech Bhang will help this person elevate his or herself in professional life. But Neech Bhanga doesn't necessarily mean that you have taken the debilitation of Saturn away and now Saturn is all good. No, Saturn will always gives his negative effect and negative effect of his debilitation. Okay, so this person can also be very egoistic but in a negative way. They can be egoistic regarding their relationship and career and colleagues, especially colleagues towards female colleagues, in a very arrogant way. They cannot control their ego, because this sign of Aries, where Saturn is placed in the ascendant, is a sign of ego, sign of competition, sign of getting ahead. And Saturn is irritated here, because Saturn is forced to be an individual, where Saturn likes to be here. He likes to deal with other people. He likes to deal with other, like a not lower class people as they say in astrology, but more so like just people who are of trade and business. They want to make deals. He wants to just be out in public. He doesn't want to be here alone in charge. That's why Saturn is making her too egoistic. He's like, I'm sorry, but I'm throwing a bad aspect on you. So this is how you judge a aspect. And plus, you got to see what houses these guys are controlling. Saturn controls the 10th and 11th house. Mars is controlling in the 3rd house, 1st house, and the 8th house. So since Mars is controlling the 8th house, this shows that there's going to be a lot of sudden ups and downs in marriage. And these sudden ups and downs will be felt especially in Venus Mahadasha and Mars Antradasha. But there will always be turbulence, because Venus is receiving a permanent aspect from Mars, which is also the house of sudden ups and downs, house of self and ego, where Saturn is sitting. So this is how, so you can say this could be a very turbulent marriage for this person. And the later they marry, the better, because Mars takes away his harshness after 28. Saturn releases off people of their karmic backlog after the age of 35, maximum 42. Rahu calms down after the age of 42. And so Venus, this person will really have a really good relationship if they were to do it after 35, especially 42. So this is one example of aspect. Okay, so now you have Taurus ascendant chart. Okay, Yashi, come here, move. So you have a Taurus ascendant chart, and in this Taurus ascendant chart, we wanted to see how Jupiter Mahadasha will be and what is happening with Jupiter in this house. Okay, so now we want to see the aspects of Jupiter. Jupiter is receiving one aspect from Saturn, one aspect from Venus, and one aspect from Mars, because Mars aspects the 4th place from itself. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Mars is looking at it. And then you can say Moon is aspecting Jupiter, because it's in conjunction. In a way, it's also aspecting its 4th and 7th place from itself. So Jupiter Dasha, you can say, well, Jupiter will have VV with Moon. Wow. Gach case 3 yoga. Moon is Jupiter and Moon are going to bring a lot of positivity, a lot of optimism in career, especially scientific career. They're going to bring a lot of optimism and positive thinking, motivation. Mother will be a very good guide for this person regarding his career. Then we have one positive aspect. Then Venus is looking at Jupiter, and even though they're enemies, they're still natural benefic planets. So Venus is giving a lot of creativity in career. Venus is giving a lot of passion in career. Venus is giving pleasure, making career like a pleasure. And Venus is throwing its creative aspects on itself. So this person can be very creative when it comes to their career, whatever they do. Okay. Then you have 2 malefic aspects, Saturn and Mars looking at it. So you have Saturn making Jupiter very disciplined, very organized, very structured and serious about his work. Okay, but it can also bring delay in promotion, delay in achieving the goals, because Saturn also delays things, and it's sitting in the enemy sign of Sun, which is Leo. Then Mars from his own house in the 7th house, bringing an aspect on Jupiter, making Jupiter a soldier. Like, he will be very forceful in his career. If this is a teacher, he will be very a forceful teacher. He'll be like a teacher with a message, and he will have a lot of willpower, and you can feel it when they speak to people. And since Mars is ruling the 7th house, it can also show that this person will be influenced a lot with their aggressive spouse. Their aggressive spouse will influence their career because Mars is in the 7th house. And since Mars rules the foreign lands, losses, expenditure, spirituality, and this, it can also show that Mars can take this person to foreign lands regarding their career due to its aspect. And Jupiter Dasha is where all of this is going to be manifesting. So this is how you can judge this aspect. But there's one thing you guys are forgetting, is this. You did not see if the moon was waning or waxing when you were born. Because if the moon is waning, it's considered a malefic moon. If the moon was waxing, it's considered positive moon. So here, now it's waning moon. There could be a sudden, there could be expansion of a lot of emotions, a lot of emotional setbacks. This person is it could be very emotional regarding their career. They could be like having some negative thoughts regarding their career, and Jupiter is amplifying that now. So even though it's a Gachketu Yoga in the 10th house, but because the moon is waning, it's not such a great combination. So in a way, moon is kind of malefic. Even though it's a natural benefic, it's giving half of it negative effect on Jupiter. And since Saturn is already aspecting moon, he's bringing a lot of discipline and kind of depression upon the moon. Because it's waning, Jupiter is expanding the moon's qualities, and Saturn is restricting the moon qualities. And this is the same thing goes for Mercury. If Mercury was to aspect Jupiter here and Venus wasn't there, Mercury would be negative, because remember, Mercury with the positive planets give positive results. Mercury with a negative planet will give negative results. Mercury starts clapping in a way. He starts applauding for the planet that he's sitting with. If he was with Mars, Mercury would be more irritating the planets that he's aspecting with Mars, because they can only aspect 11th place from itself, 7th place from itself. So that's the one thing to know about Mercury and moon. Is the moon waning or waxing? And is Mercury sitting with a positive planet or negative planet? And if he's sitting with here, with a positive negative, then you can say Mercury is going to give mixed results towards his aspect to Jupiter. So he can be irritating him with a lot of logic. He can be irritating him with a lot of detail. But at the same time, due to Venus's qualities on Mercury, if he was here, then it would also make him intelligent. It would also make him very communicative. So this is how you really judge an aspect. So let me quickly explain to you what are Sandhi aspects, okay? In the sky, you don't have any boundaries saying, oh, this is the first house, this is the second house, this is the third house. There's nothing. This is something that all the sages in the old days made, that will set up the boundaries of the first house and second house. But remember, there's no boundaries in the sky. All the planets are just moving, okay? So imagine if Jupiter was at, let's say Jupiter was at 2 degrees Gemini, okay? It's at 2 degrees Gemini. And let's say Sun was in the 6th house around 29 degrees Scorpio. So what does that tell you? That within that Jupiter is being at 2 degrees and Sun being at 29 degrees, that means Sun is just 1 or 2 degrees away from moving into the 7th house, which is Sagittarius. And Jupiter is aspecting the 7th place from itself. But because in the sky there are no boundaries, and Sun and Jupiter are within 3 degrees of seeing each other, okay, this is known as the Sandhi aspect. So that means your Sun is currently right now being influenced by Jupiter. just, I know I forgot to put the degrees number here, but just imagine Sun at 28 degrees or 29 degrees, Jupiter's at 2 degrees. So anytime Jupiter or any planet are within 3 degrees of difference in this kind of situation, where Sun is just about to move to the 7th house where he's going to be in front of Jupiter, this is still aspecting Sun. And Sun is aspecting Jupiter. There's like a mutual aspect in a way. So because Sun is about to move here, yet Sun is also looking. Jupiter is already there in a very early degrees, looking here in the 7th house, and Sun is just about to move there. So they're both looking at each other, influencing each other. So this is what's known as Sandhi aspects, ladies and gentlemen. So I hope you understood aspects. If you're new to my channel, subscribe below. And if you want to know about aspects and what planet aspects where, this is very easy stuff. Check out the link below. Check out my book there, Astrology, the Speed of Light. And when you get the book, I will send you the link to look at your own chart so you can see what planet is aspecting what. And if you have Sandhi aspect, otherwise, see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
I give you quality, honey, so put your money on me. With my authority, surely you wanna get up on it. I give you quality, honey, so put your money on me. With my authority, surely you wanna get up on it. I'm super fly with the rhymes I supply. Float like a butterfly, high